Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new study looks at drug use among Arizona's youth. State trust land funds that pay for education hit a new milestone, and some tips for those looking to rent their homes to Super Bowl visitors. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Arizona Criminal Justice Commission is out with a new study that looks at drug and alcohol use among Arizona teenagers. Here to talk about that study is Andy Lefevre. He is with the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission. Good to have you here. Before we get to the survey, what is the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission?
Great, thanks, Ted. The Criminal Justice Commission was created in 1982 to act in a coordinating fashion for the 480 law enforcement agencies all across Arizona. So we do a wide range of data collection and reporting elements from those agencies up to the legislature and the governor's office, and also distribute a lot of federal criminal justice dollars back out to the state.
Okay, with that now, what is the Arizona Youth Survey?
Sure. We, every 2 years, do a large survey of 8th, 10th, and 12th grade students all across Arizona. This last one that we did in 2014 surveyed over 48,000 students all across the state in all 15 counties to give a really comprehensive look at the kind of behaviors that they're participating in school, at home, with their friends, so that we get a good look at what's going on in their lives. It gives really good, solid, and deep data for policymakers to look at to see, is what we're doing working? Should we be concentrating on some different areas so that we can try and reduce some of these behaviors? Again, looking at everything from drug and alcohol use, bullying, cyberbullying, fights at school, driving while impaired, a whole list of activities that they participate in.
And I know the Commission wants to emphasize drug use, so we'll stick to that one right now. But before we get to the results, how do you take a study? I mean, how do you ask a kid, have you tried marijuana?
Sure. It's all self-reported data. And it's all anonymous. So the survey instrument is very much designed so that they cannot be identified on that survey once it's handed in and tabulated. And what we found over doing this over the last 12 years now is we've gotten it down to a very good point where we get a good sample size. Again, 48,000 is a large data set to work from, and we feel very confident that the data that we're getting from these students is accurate data.
Okay, so let's get going here. Number one, alcohol, still number one, right?
It is interesting. Alcohol still remains the number one abuse substance in Arizona. We see about 46% of the students have reported some type of use of alcohol throughout their lifetime. It's about 25% of students are saying they're using it on a regular basis, so in the last 30 days, which is troubling, but those numbers are a little lower, and we've seen them trending down over the last 10 years, which is encouraging. I think the coalitions that are out in our local communities talking to students about the dangers of alcohol and alcohol use and driving while impaired are starting to show a result. Surprisingly, in this survey, marijuana is now the second most abused substance ahead of tobacco, which had always been 2 up till now.
Why do you think that is?
Again, I think there has been a very strong message in our country and in Arizona about the dangers of tobacco. I think the tobacco isn't nearly as prestigious or glamorous as it used to be many years ago. So I think we're seeing the number of students that are using it going down. Consequently, in looking at marijuana, we're kind of getting the reverse message of that. Medical marijuana can be used for medicinal purposes. It's not as dangerous. It's natural. So again, I think all of that is leading to what we're seeing with marijuana now becoming the number 2 abused substance, and that's at about 27% of students reporting using it at some point in their lifetime.
I was looking at some of the numbers here, 32% of 10th graders, 48% of 12th graders. Did you know how they're getting the stuff? I mean, is that asked in the survey?
Yeah, the survey asks some of the questions where students are getting the substances that they're abusing, and it runs right. Friends are still the number one place where somebody is getting one of the abused substances, whether it's alcohol or tobacco or prescription drugs or what it might be. And then it runs the range, and there's a whole list of answers from family, from friends. Interestingly enough, for the marijuana thing, we included a new question in 12 and then again this year about medical marijuana cards and whether students are getting their marijuana from somebody with a medical marijuana card. And we've seen that number go up from 11.6% to 14.3% from 2012 to 2014, which is troubling, but again, 2 years is not a trend. So curious to see what that looks like in 2016.
As far as areas of the state, any increases and decreases in certain parts of Arizona?
No, the numbers have remained pretty steady across the counties. Again, we're encouraged by seeing overall substance abuse going down in our teens in Arizona. We want to see what we can do to encourage more policies that seem to be impacting that and bringing those numbers down. Again, trying to use this data on the local level, by school boards, by mayors and city councils, by the legislature, to see, we've put some programs in place, and does it seem like it's making an impact, and if so, what can we do to encourage that more?
And I know that, again, alcohol number one, and obviously that marijuana, as you said, supplants tobacco at number two, but what about prescription drugs? We hear a lot about that.
Prescription drugs is one of those things that is troubling because, again, the number one place that students are getting prescription drugs are from their homes. Or if not their homes, perhaps grandma's home. So, it's troubling to us, and we certainly are working on an initiative to, again, go out and educate kids on the dangers of taking medication that's not theirs. We're hopeful that the numbers will kind of even out and then begin to go down as we make students more aware of the dangers of those things. And again, not just students, but parents, the community members, things like that, by encouraging the use of drop boxes at local police stations so people can get rid of unused medications, so they're not sitting around longer in their homes than they should be.
I know that next month here on 8 and the Cronkite School is kind of leading this. There's going to be a special on heroin use among teenagers and young folks because it does seem to be on the rise. Is it on the rise because, is there a correlation with prescription drugs, do you think?
Well, I think one of the things we've seen anecdotally across the nation is that prescription drugs, the most commonly abused ones are opioids, so the same type of high that you would get from heroin. So as we make prescription drugs harder to get, somebody who is addicted to those prescription medications is going to be looking for that same high in another area, and unfortunately that is going to be heroin. So I don't think it's going to be hard to stretch it out to see that somebody switching from prescription drugs to heroin is not something that would be uncommon.
So you said now this has been 12 years now for the study. Every 2 years this study goes on. Trends, what are you seeing out there?
Again, I think the thing that's most encouraging as we look at the numbers over the last 10 years is that most substance abuse figures are going down. Fewer students are abusing alcohol, tobacco, prescription drugs, things like that we're not seeing an uptick that would worry us. We had seen one a few years ago with some prescription medications that seems to be leveling off, so we're hopeful for that. Again, the one that we're concerned with is marijuana is bucking that trend. Marijuana abuse is growing in our students across our schools, especially our 12th graders, and that's troubling, and we want to make sure we keep an eye on that and give the data to folks that can hopefully implement some policies.
And what do you want those folks to do as far as implementing some of these policies? What would you have them focus on?
Again, the purpose of the Criminal Justice Commission in this survey is to give them the data to look at. So we want to focus on making sure they have good information, that they can take that good information and put it up against policies that either have been in place or that they're considering to put in place, so that they can look to see if it's going to have an impact. We don't necessarily take a position on what they should or shouldn't be focusing on. We just want to make sure they're making the best decisions they can with this data.
So data as opposed to recommendations.
Correct.
All right. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
Arizona's Permanent Land Endowment Trust Fund recently hit the $5 billion mark for the first time. That milestone is of note because money earned from the fund goes to state education. Patty Humbert is the Chief Investment Officer for the State Treasurer's Office, and she joins us now. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Ted.
Okay, Permanent Land Endowment Trust Fund. What are we talking about?
When Arizona became a state, the Congress granted to our school districts, for the benefit of our school districts, in an act of Congress, over 10 million acres. Those acres are held aside, and any sales or leases on those acres must benefit the beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries are our school districts.
So the land is out there, it gets sold when, how do you decide, how does the state decide? We've covered this before, but I think it's confusing to people. How does the state decide that that patch of land out there, it's time to sell?
That's not handled out of the Treasurer's Office. That's handled out of the Land Department, and I don't know what determinations they use to make those, the sales.
But once they make those sales, it's up to you to make sure that those sales prosper.
That's correct.
And
That's
prosper,
correct.
they have 93% of the fund earnings go to K-12 education, correct?
That's correct.
And
That's
this
correct.
$5 billion mark, talk to us about why do you think that happened?
Well, this fund is in perpetuity, so the only thing that comes out of the funds is a percentage of our earnings. So the land sales go into them. This year so far, this fiscal year, we've had about $68 million in land sales that come into the fund. Last year we had about $100 million. The year prior it was over $200 million. Those help the trust fund add up quickly. Then on top of that, we have our earnings. For this fiscal year so far, we've earned about 6.6% for just the first half of this year. When you look at a percentage on $5 billion, if we were to earn 5%, we'd still earn $125 million for the fund.
You're talking real money there.
You're talking real money.
As far as the money being distributed now to K-12 education, can you tell us how that money is distributed or where that goes? Or
once the school districts get the money, we don't know how they distribute it and use it. But we have a formula that is in our Constitution that says how much we must distribute to the school districts.
And it sounds like for this fiscal year, $76 million to be, and it looks like a 12% increase. Again, as far as asset allocation and equities and bonds and all those kind of, how do you work that out? What's the formula? What do you do?
Well, right now we invest in 40% bonds. And we index, we benchmark, and we look at the Citi Big Index, and that's just a big bond fund.
Okay.
And we look at that bond fund, and we try to make similar bond investments in our bond fund. Safe, interest-bearing investments that will come back to the fund. The other 60% of what we invest is in the stock market, and we index. So we're passive. We invest exactly like the S&P 500, 400, and 600. The 400 is the mid caps, 600 is the small caps. We added the small caps under Treasurer Ducey. They've been very profitable since we added the small caps in. We extended the mid caps not very many years ago as well. So equities have done very well for us.
Is it by statute that you must index? I mean, is there any rule that says you can't go take a leap on some faith over here and try something daring?
It is not by statute I don't think it's in statute that we have to index. I believe we have more latitude than indexing in statute. But one rule that we have for the endowment that's actually in the Constitution is the prudent investor rule. So we have to make prudent investments as an institutional investor would make with their own money.
And it's hard to argue against indexing when you're really trying to make sure things go forward.
Right, right. We're very conservative. We tend to invest very conservatively. We don't want to take a loss in the core of these funds.
Now, you said 60% bonds, 40% stock market. Is that what you said?
It's the other way around.
Other way, okay.
Yeah.
Is it the other, whatever it is that by statute?
That is by Constitution.
By Constitution, all right.
And that's book value. So we can't hold book value or the corpus of more than 60% in stocks. As far as book value goes right now, we're at about 52%. Now, because we invested in those, the market value is higher. We're at about 62% by market value.
Okay, all right. I've got 14% yield since 2011. You said 6.6 this calendar year. 3-year returns 12.45. 5-year returns 11.01. That's pretty good.
It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been good. Our last trailing year, we had almost 10%.
And it's, again, do you look, the stock market has been going gangbusters here in the past few years. Is it a rolling, are the goalposts moving a little bit as far as investments, or you just keep them in those indices and watch them?
We have discussions quite often about going into different investments. Now that we have a new treasurer coming in January, we'll sit down again and talk about what we can do with it. In 2012, we hired a consulting firm to give us an asset allocation study. And they went over with us, based on the Constitution and our state statutes, what we could invest in to widen our horizons a little bit. We chose to stay invested the way we are investing and just expand a little bit into the small cap stock area. And it did very well for us. But we'll probably look into another asset allocation study, see if we can be doing something better for the taxpayer.
Indeed, and as far as doing something better than perhaps other states, do you get a chance to compare those kinds of things? And what do you see?
We really don't compare very much to other states. There's not a benchmark. A lot of people don't look at these. The land trusts were only done for 5 or 6 Western states.
Right, right.
We tend to compare ourselves to large university foundations. There's a group that did a study in 2013 for large university foundations, and they're allocated in much wider allocations than we are. And on a comparison basis, we did quite well compared to universities.
I know that you've been at the Treasurer's office for quite a while. When everything went south there, 6-7 years ago, was there the feeling that we had to break out of a box a little bit, or was that the time to hunker down and even be more concerned? What was the thought process that happened back then?
Well, we did a lot of talking. We sat down and we talked quite a bit about what was happening in the market and where we wanted to be. And again, like I said, we tend to always defer to being conservative. So we went into a conservative mode at that point, analyzing everything that was happening in the market and trying to pick our spots where we were going to be best served. We have the ability to index, like I said, so we left those indexed, and we followed the stock market back up with that. And then in our bond portfolios, we just went to a little bit more conservative approach.
I'll bet. Well, it certainly seems to have worked out very well. $76 million this year, and any ideas what you could see next fiscal year? Any thoughts?
I anticipate the fund to continue to grow, and we pay 2.5% on the 5-year average balance for the last 5 years. And if the fund continues to grow, we'll continue to grow those disbursements.
Well, I'm sure the K through 12 schools will be happy to hear that. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
A number of Valley residents are looking to rent their homes to Super Bowl visitors in the next couple of months, but there's quite a bit for part-time landlords to consider before handing over house keys to well-heeled football fans. AAA Arizona insurance expert John Candasso is here with more on that. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thanks, Ted. Thank you.
What do folks need? Because I'm sure, anyone who lives anywhere near a stadium or anywhere near anything that's happening think, easy money. What do they need to think about here?
Well, I'm sure that lure is going to bring them in. Just to give you some figures, in 2008, the last time the Super Bowl was here, over 91,000 out-of-state people brought in over $218 million of revenue for lodging and entertainment.
Just for lodging and entertainment?
Lodging and entertainment and food. So it was a lot of money involved.
There is. So what do folks need to know before becoming an instant landlord?
They need to know about the risks involved. First, there's risks involving, if this is the home that you're living in, there is an insurance risk because you probably have an insurance policy now. You definitely need to go back to your agent and talk to your agent to make sure that if you temporarily rent your home to someone like that, that it will be covered in the event of a loss. In a lot of cases, it's not covered. It goes by insurance company in the contracts.
And that's your insurance company. Should you get proof of the renters? I mean, maybe home and auto insurance.
Exactly. I would treat it like a long-term renter, so you want as much information prior to them coming in. So you want to do a background check like you would if you were renting your house for a long time. You'll want to get as much information of their personal information, like their insurance, in case something does happen, that their insurance, and you have that information, so you're prepared that way. And you also have a contract with them.
Well, okay, if you don't have a contract, is the renter still responsible for all damage to that unit?
Not if you don't have a contract with
So
them.
that's a big deal, isn't it?
Right, explicitly talking about damage to it, their responsibilities as well.
So insurance has to have damage protection insurance, and you got to get a contract with that renter. How about criminal checks, background checks, credit checks?
Right, and you know, I would check with a realtor, property manager, because they have a lot of expertise in that area, but that's exactly what you want to do before you ever even think about renting that out. Have that procedure down, so when you have a tenant, potential tenants, that you can actually do those background checks.
Do you need permission to do those checks?
I would go and find out through your association. There's a lot of associations here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. So if your association does not allow it, you can't do it. So you want to find that out from them first.
If you don't have an association, though?
No problems.
Oh,
There's
really?
no problems. You can do that.
So, and again, I guess people do forget you've got to maneuver around the HOA. I mean, they're not going to let them park on the lawn or do any other business, and they're probably not. Are some of these HOAs not allowing units to be rented, do you think?
You know, I would tend to believe that yes, that would be the case because you know they're protecting the overall living area of the people around them in all the common areas. So they want to make sure that only certain things can happen there.
We talked about insurance policies, and I was looking at this. What's the difference? Do you know the difference between an HO3 and an HO5? You know what that's all about?
Yeah, those are policies that are made for the owner occupants. So like my house and if your house, if you have your insurance on your home, and the difference between an HO3 and HO5 is an HO3 is what we call the named perils contract, where there's specifically 16 things like a fire or theft or vandalism that can happen to your house, and then your home is protected for the damage to it, for a place for you to stay if you can't stay in your house because it's being repaired. And an HO5 is just a built-up policy that has more enhancements to it. So not only are the named perils covered, but if things aren't named in a contract, normally they'll be covered in that homeowner's policy. So it's an enhanced contract for coverage.
And you probably a good idea to find out which one of those you have.
Right, and then again, if you're renting your home, whether or not you can even have a temporary tenant in there, you might have to go to a commercial insurance policy.
Do you know what kind of homes that mostly go for rent? Are they single-family homes, condos, townhouses?
A little bit of everything. Just kind of give you some figures. I was researching figures, and back in 2011, when Dallas had their, they looked specifically at homes, and they were renting homes out for $2,000 a night. But it's a myriad of different things, depending on the community. Where, for example, Phoenix metropolitan area here has a lot of condominiums and apartments. I'm sure you can rent those out too, as long as your association would allow it.
Yeah, and as long as you got the insurance and do the background checks and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, sir.
What kind of prices can people expect?
That's that average we were talking about. Just doing some research on it, that if it's, say, a regular tract home, you could probably get at least $2,000 or more a night.
A night?
Yeah, that's the big lure, Ted. Is that lure of that much money being made in a short-term period of time.
And are all parts of town involved here? Or if you're out in Queen Creek, just don't even bother?
Well, that's going to be up to the tenant. That's going to be up to the person that's going to want to rent. If they see a value of being able to come into town and do that because that's what's available, then I'm sure you could probably you can rent up your property.
I guess if you have horse property out there and somebody can come out here and be a cowboy for a week or something.
Exactly.
As far as, let's say I'm interested. Okay, I'm interested. How do you post? What's the best way to make sure? I mean, do you just go? You can't go on Craigslist, do you? I mean, what do you do?
You will probably see some advertising on Craigslist there, and people, consumers doing it on their own. A lot of, if you want some help and you're inexperienced, I would go to a property manager, realtor property manager, because they do this on a regular basis for long-term rentals, and their processes are in place, so you can get a lot of education and help that way.
So there are better than other areas, you think, as far as posting for rent?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. They'll have their own listings. The realtor property managers can have their own listing websites where they can actually hit tentative clients very easily.
And so again, as far as the differences between someone who rents their home and has done so for years, maybe for the summer, maybe for a year, maybe all the time, and a short-term landlord, what biggest difference you think?
Biggest difference is in how to protect yourself as that short-term landlord, because as we mentioned earlier, the contracts that you're in that protects your home, if you're sued for liability,
Yes.
or if you're sued for damage to your home, are usually set up just for you as an owner-occupant, not someone that would rent that home out. So you want to go back and make sure if you can do that through your regular policy, and if not, you have to purchase something alternative.
And once you're successful in everything, make sure you remove your valuables and change the locks when it's over, correct?
Exactly. You should put in that budget. If you think you're going to make money, put in that budget to rekey your home.
Yeah, all right. Good information. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Ted.
Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, a discussion on the best and most effective ways to help veterans pay for a post-military education and hear about attempts to support more data centers in the valley. That's on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.